go and create a new tutorial in Xcode, and what I want to do is create a new project here. Just get rid of this. Okay. Now, this is 4.4. They just did an upgrade to my laptop here, my MacBook. And you could start with an empty application as we have been and build it up that way. Tabbed application stays here. Utilities here. There's this master detail, OpenGL game, page-based, and single view. We're going to look at single view right now. And we're going to call this one let's see, what should we call it? Storyboard app example. And we're not going to put this information here. You see the checked button for use storyboards is checked, and use automatic reference counting as well. So we're going to use those. What it does is it's going to ask you for a create local Git repository. It's basically saying, where do you want to put the folder for the project? And we're going to simply create to our desktop, which is fine. Okay. Now, we're going to take a look here, and we see we have our app delegate here, our pipeline. Right, this is our declaration here. We only have a window declared, and it's a responder, by the way, in this type here, but it's an application delegate. In the implementation file, okay, we implement a standard app delegate implementation. Then there's this unusual one that comes up called main storyboard. We'll get to this one in a moment, and our view controller here is the view controller for the main storyboard. Obviously, to see a view, we need a view controller. We'll come back to the storyboard. We're just going to click over here, double click actually, and you see here's our view controller, and this here basically is the view controller. It's not, and this is the interesting thing, it's part of the view controller here. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to click on this here to highlight it. In our inspector here, we're going to change some colors here. We're going to take this light blue color here and put it on it. And then what we're going to do, we're going to, let's see, we're going to drag. Now, you should always drag images as PGNs as a rule of thumb. You can use GIFs as you want. We're going to just put it in as a GIF, this image here, and then we're going to create, and you'll also notice in the inspector here that your controllers are at the top, and then the other little items, your widgets, are what are called widgets, but they're rectangle and a segmented control. You've seen these before, but they're in different places. Also, if you go through this, you'll notice you have some gesture, new stuff here. New type of gesture recognition on here, as well as the standard stuff that was always on there. So we're going to take a rounded rectangle button, place it in here, and we're going to sort of square this off if we can. And as the image, we're going to put our Chinese character for, if you've ever played Chinese chess, the character for the red commander or red king. We're going to place him in there. And then we're going to put above that a label. I'm going to call this main page. Right? Okay. And we're going to want this font to come up to about 20 is probably fine. We'll run system bold. Alright, we're going to spread this out so that we can get it across the screen and bring it right in here. Right. And then we're going to center it here. Okay. So this is our main page. You'll notice this little arrow here too. This says from the application start this page. Now for the storyboard effect, we simply drag a new view into place. We're going to move this over here like so. You can decrease the zoom or increase it if you want. We're going to leave it sort of like that. We're going to also change the white color here to, oh, I don't know, let's go to the other here. We want something that's going to reflect the red commander. I'm a big Chinese chess player, by the way, so wait a minute. And oops, sorry. It just sort of freaked out on me there. Let's try that again. It delayed itself. I'm noticing with Lion, things are not as, they're nice, but they're a little, even with the most memory you can have, a little bit slow. There we go. Okay. So, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to then drag another label right into here. Not label, I'm sorry, rounded rectangle. We want a button. I get a little confused myself sometimes. Title is main page. And we're going to then take this and drag it all the way back here. And, okay. And then we're going to highlight the label that's up here. And we're going to put it as well here. It's not going to be, of course, our main page. We're going to put this, we're going to type in here, red commanders. Or we can type in, let's just type in red commander and see if that fits. So it's a little tight. We'll just type in like that. Maybe we'll add the word page. There it goes. Okay, that's fine. Alright. So, whoops. A little low here at the ground. Okay. And you can use this little bar here to roll back and forth. Now, we have two buttons. I'm just going to close this for a moment. A button here and a button here. We want to make the storyboard transition, so we're going to hold the control key down, highlight our button, drag it onto the second one, and we're going to choose modal right here. Okay. Now, you notice something popped up here. We're going to just straighten it out a bit. We now have a modal to another, and we're going to run this just to show you what happens as it's running it, right, linking it, so on and so forth, and it'll run it in our 5.1 simulator. Give it a minute. Is it behind me? There we go. Okay. And so if we click this here, we now get our next page. We're going to just quit this for a moment. Okay. Now you say to yourself, wait a second. Why did it flip this up when it made its change? We need to look at this, the modal change here. And we're going to view that in the inspector. Okay. It's a modal style. We have our default, which is the screen going up. But if we go with the cross dissolve, as you see here, alright, and we run it, now when we click it, we get this nice dissolving effect. Okay, so the question is, how do we get back from here to here? In the same way, Control, drag, let go, modal. Now, I'm just going to zoom out for a second here to show you. Notice we went and wrapped around and back to the main page. So you can have as many types of story views as you want in your storyboard. And we're going to just run this to give you an example here of what happens. Give it a second. Here we go. Okay. We dissolve in nicely onto our red page, Chinese chess page. Now when we go to the main page, well, wait a minute. What now happened here? Well, we had our second modal segue, and that's what they call these segues. And if we look at it here, we're still on our default. So we go to our cross dissolve, which, by the way, partial curl only brings a partial curl of paper up, and flip horizontal is the flip that we normally had in the application where the page flipped and horizontally. And if you remember those applications, we're going to leave it as cross dissolve and close this down and run it again. And be patient. It will come up. Here we go. Main page, back. And we can flip back and forth. So you could have a bunch of little items here, and you would link to a certain story here, to a certain page here, and you could go back to your main page. Now, in the second page, or the new views, the new scenes, you could carry out a function of some sort, or have some sort of, I don't know, a list or a picker view, and we could select an item from that picker view and go back to the main page if we chose. So it does make things flow very nicely. I just sent an app in for approval with Apple, and it just got approved, and I'm sending an upgrade to that with some ideas that I've had. But the main thing is, you could take your apps that you now have as push views, and you can place them in the scene selection. So if you wanted to change some system settings, you could come to a page here, change them, and go back. The only thing you'd have to ensure yourself is that anything carried out on this page is saved, or at least any change made is updated and saved, because once the user were to select this, then of course they come back to the main page. Now, you could gray out the button while something's going on. That's a possibility. And you come back to your main page. When we come back, our next tutorial, what I want to do is I want to show you the differences between class methods and instance methods. And I'm going to come up with something with this, what we have here, for a class method and an instance method, and show you the differences of them. I'm taking a departure from SQLite because my thoughts are that it is kind of boring people right now, and I know this whole idea of the storyboard is hot right now, and I would rather do that and bring that to you for the storyboarding effect. So that concludes this tutorial, and as I said, we're going to use the storyboard to build on it with classes, instance methods and class methods, and the differences and why they are different. We're going to also build maybe another storyboard off the main and come back from that to show you how it works. So I will see you soon, and take care.